Good day. Welcome to another session of Fog Accountancy Tutorials. Today we are going to continue our study on budgeting and budgetary control by taking a specific look at the functional budgets. Okay, when we talk about functional budgets are budgets that are prepared by the various departments, okay, of the organization, especially the functions that are being performed in the organization. When budgets are being prepared for them, we call it a functional budget. Now, that is what we are going to look at in this video. Now, when I say functional budget, I'm going to be more specific on the kinds of budgets or the types of budget that I'm going to deal with under what I call the functional budget. And so, without wasting my time, let me list them for you. We are going to talk about the sales budget as the first one. And then we are going to talk about the production budget. Remember that we have already treated cash budget in a different video. Now, production budget. And then we are going to talk about the materials usage budget. Now, I'm going to show you a link between these budgets that I'm mentioning. Materials usage budget. And then we talk about the materials purchases budget. Materials purchases budget. And then we can also talk about the labor budget. All right, so there could also be overheads budget and all that. I'm going to talk about them, but in this video, I'm going to talk about these 5 budgets for now. So the sales budget, the production budget, materials usage budget, materials purchases budget, and then we are going to talk about the labor budget. And this is what we are going to talk about for now. Now, what I want you to understand is that all these, especially the first 4, is listed in a particular order that follows in itself. So we need the sales budget to prepare the production budget. And then we need the production budget to prepare the materials usage budget. And then we need the materials usage budget to prepare the materials purchases budget. We cannot prepare the materials purchases budget if we don't have information on materials to be used. We cannot prepare the material usage budget if you don't know how much to produce. And you cannot prepare the production budget if you don't know the estimated sales or the forecast sales. So I've listed that in a particular order. When it comes to the labor budget, we need the production budget to prepare the labor budget. Of course, overhead cost budget is also there, which we will deal with. And then we're also going to deal with other budgets as we move on. So for now, we are dealing with these 5 budgets in this video. Now, what I'm going to do in this lesson is that I'm going to first of all take you through the format of preparing each of these and the purposes. Now, we know that the sales budget is prepared to ascertain the expected sales for the coming period. Now, for sales budget, what we basically need is how much units that we expect to sell, and that is based on the trend of customer demand. Okay, so mostly in exam, when you are solving a question and you are asked to prepare the sales budget, the question will give you the expected sales in units. So basically, that is the budget. What you need to do is to maybe get that in value by multiplying by the expected selling price to get a sales budget in value. So the forecast sales. Then once we get that, it will inform us on how many quantities of the product to produce. And I'm going to talk about the production budget as well. So I'm going to take you through the format of each of these. And then afterwards, we'll take a question and then we solve. And then we'll understand this and then we move on to other budgets. Okay, so let's begin with the sales budget. I'm going to show you how to prepare the sales budget. So sales budget. Now, in preparing the sales budget, I've already told you that you will be given the forecast sales, okay, the expected sales for the coming period for which you are preparing the budget. And usually, it's not going to be just one product. Most organizations deal with many product lines. So, assuming that there are 2 products here, let's use products A and B for this very purpose. So let's say you are manufacturing 2 products, product A and product B. You are supposed to prepare sales budget for both. And the forecast sales in unit will be given to you in the question. All you need to do is that there will also be an expected selling price that you are going to use. So the sales budget, you indicate your product A and then your product B. And then you say your forecast sales in units will be given. So you put that here and then you multiply by the selling price. So assuming, instead of using the excess, let me make it more realistic. Okay, so assuming that your forecast sales is 100 for A and then 200 for B, and the expected selling price, which will be given to you, is let's say your expected selling price is in Ghana cedi. So if it is 2 cedis for product A and then 1 cedis, 50 pesos for product B, then you multiply 100 by 2 cedis. That gives you 200 Ghana cedis. So that is total sales value in Ghana cedis. And then multiplying 200 by 1.5 is going to give you 300. So this is how to prepare the sales budget, as simple as ABC. So I'm taking you through each of them one by one, and you see how easy it is to prepare a sales budget. You get your forecast sales in units, you multiply by your forecast selling price or expected selling price or the selling price that is prevailing at that time, and then that gives you the sales budget. This is the sales budget. So now you have the sales budget, you can move on to prepare the production budget. Now, in preparing the production budget, you need the forecast sales from the sales budget. And remember that when it came to the sales budget, we have prepared, there is the unit and there is still a value. But the production budget will be prepared only in units. So production budget is strictly in units. We don't need any monetary value in the production budget. When it came to the sales budget, we brought the units and we also multiplied by an expected selling price. But when we get to production budget, don't ever be tempted to take any monetary value to the production budget. So I'm going to prepare the production budget based on these imaginary figures that I have created for you. So look at the format of the production budget. So production budget. Now, what is the purpose of the production budget? The production budget is in units, like I said. What is the purpose of preparing the production budget? We want to know the quantity of goods to produce for that particular coming period. Now, before you can determine how much to produce, you need to know how much you want to sell. And when you know how much to sell, it is not prudent to produce exactly the value that you are selling. So we know that for product A, we are expecting to sell 100 units. It is not wise to produce exactly 100. Okay, so definitely you expect to produce to get a closing inventory. So the expectation is that if, assuming that we don't have any goods in inventory now, and then we want to sell 100 units of the product, then we can decide to produce, let's say 120 or 130, so that we have an expected closing stock of 30 if you are producing 130, so that after selling 100, you still have 30 as closing stock. Now, the moment closing stock issues begin to come in, then it means that opening stock issues could also come in from the previous period. So definitely when it comes to the production budget, it is going to bring in the issue of closing inventory or closing stock and then opening inventory of the product. So to know how much to produce, we need to factor these two inventories, opening and closing. So assuming that I want to sell 100 units, but I need an expected closing stock of 30. All those information will be given to you in the question. So you want to sell 100, but you are expecting to get a closing stock of 30. So that means that you are expecting to get 130 goods available. But assuming you are told that you have an opening inventory of 40, as you are preparing the budget, there is a closing inventory from the previous year, which will become an opening inventory of 40 units. Then, of course, you need to take it out because you are expecting goods available for sale to be 130. Remember that you are expecting to sell 100. Then you know that you expect that after selling 100, you are expecting to get a closing inventory of 30. So it means you need a goods available for sale of 130. So if you need goods available for sale of 130, and you know you have 40 of the same goods in stock, are you going to produce exactly 130? No, you need to add up to make it 130. So if I have 40, how many more should I produce to get to that 130? So I take the 40 out, I have 90. So this becomes my production budget in unit. So the production budget is basically when you are able to get your forecast sales, you add your expected closing stock and you take out your opening stock. That is your production budget. So we'll come and say for products A and B, we begin with the forecast sales. So watch the format. Instead of using the XXS, I'm trying to use some figures, but it is still the same format I'm giving because we are not solving any question now. I'll solve a question afterwards. So your forecast sales, okay, so if I have to use the XXS, forecast sales, then we add closing inventory or closing stock. And then we subtract the opening inventory. So let me put that in bracket. So the final answer becomes the production budget in units. So if I want to use this scenario, then I can say that the forecast sales for product A, the forecast sales was 100, then the closing stock is 30, so it gives us 130. Then we take out opening stock of 40, and that gives us 90. So it's the same order, but I'm using the XXS to explain to you. So this is how to prepare your production budget in units. I'm sure this is understandable. So let me just replace this XXS with the figures so that I will base on that to prepare the materials usage budget. So let's assume that, or let's say after preparing the production budget, we got 90 here, and let's say we got 150 here for B. So we're going to use the 90 and 150 to prepare our materials usage budget. And I'm going to show you what the material usage budget is all about. So let's prepare materials usage budget. Now, materials usage budget, we are moving away from the products because the products are product A and B, but we need raw materials that are not A and B. So the materials could be different labeling. It could be material X and Y, material P, Q, and R. It could be 2, 3 materials for the product. And we need to prepare budget for the materials, not for the product. Here we are done with the production. We are going to look at the materials that are needed to produce 90 units of A and 150 units. We are assuming that the material production for A is 90 and production budget for B is 150. So we want to budget for materials that are going to be used in producing this 90 units and in producing this 150 units. And so for material usage, for the sake of our format, let's assume materials X and Y. Okay, materials X and then materials Y. Now, take note that the question is going to give you the quantity of each material to be used in producing a unit of each of these. So you can be told that for product A, for example, for product A, you require 2 kg of material X and then 3 kg of material Y. For a unit of product B, let's say you require 3 kg of X and 5 kg of Y. So this can be what you'll be given in a question. This is the kind of information that you can see from the question, so that you know that in order to produce 1 unit of this product, you need 2 kg of material X and 3 kg of material Y. Okay, in order to produce 1 unit of product B, you need 3 kg of material X and 5 kg of material Y, something like that. So when I come here, I'll say for product A, for product A, how many quantities of material X will I need for product A? If I need 2 kg of X for 1 and I'm producing 90, then it means I have to multiply 90 by 2 kg in order to get the total unit of material X for product A. I don't know if you are getting me right. If I need 2 kg for each unit and I'm producing 90 units, then 2 times 90 will determine how much quantity of material X I need in all to produce the 90. So that is what it's going to mean. So it means that here, for material X, it's going to be something like 90 times 2 kg. And that's going to give us 180 kg for X. And then the same product A, if I want to produce how many units, of Y do I need? It's 3 kg per unit. So 3 times 90. So that is going to be 3 times 90 for Y. And that is 270 kg. You may decide to punch this elsewhere, but I want to show you how it's done. So you multiply the units per product by the total product, and then that gives you for that. These brackets are workings that can be ignored, but I just want you to understand. It may not necessarily have to come into the budget. You can do it somewhere else and then bring it. But I need you to understand the concept. When it comes to product B, we need 3 kg of X for 1. So 3 kg times 150 is going to give us 450 kg. Okay, that is 3 times 150. That gives us 450 kg. And then Y, we need 5 kg of Y times 150. So 5 times 150, that gives us 750 kg. So when we are preparing the materials usage budget, the focus is no more on product A and B or whatever. The focus is on the total quantity of materials that will be used for the entire production. Therefore, we now add 180 to 450, and that gives us 630 kg. And then for material Y, 270 plus 750, that gives us 1020 kg. So ladies and gentlemen, we are done preparing the material usage budget. But just as we did with the sales budget, we can equally multiply by the price per material to get the material usage budget in value. So unit price could be added. So this is in units. So unit price, we can say that material X costs, let's say 2 cedis, and then material Y costs, let's say 50 pesos, 0.5. Okay, so when it happens, we can multiply the total units or total kg by price per kg, and that gives us the materials usage budget in value. So this by 2 gives us 1,260 Ghana cedis, and then this gives us 510 Ghana cedis. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the materials usage budget. Materials usage budget. We want to know the quantity of materials to use for the production. So now that we know the quantity of materials to use for the production, we can go on to prepare the materials purchases budget. So you see, you cannot prepare one if you have not done the previous, okay? So this will also, the material purchases budget will also depend on the materials usage. And that one also, we are going to bring in opening and closing inventory of the materials purchases budget. So if we are going to use these quantities, then how much quantities or kilos should we buy so that we can have closing inventory of the materials? And if there is any opening inventory, how does it affect? It has the same effect just as we did for the production budget. So we're going to prepare the materials purchases budget. So let's prepare materials purchases budget. Now, when it comes to the materials purchases budget, that one also will have material Y and material X, just as we did for the materials usage. Now, materials purchases budget will begin with the unit of material usage. So we'll say materials usage. We bring the figures here. I'm using the XXX, okay? But here you can bring the 630 and the 1020. So it's the same thing. So 630 kg and then 1020 kg. So you begin with the materials usage. Then you add any closing inventory that you expect, and then you subtract any opening inventory. That is all. It's very easy, just like the production budget. So when it comes to the material usage, we'll say add your closing inventory of materials. So let's assume that we have 70 here kg as the opening inventory, and then we have 80 kg. So that means we are getting 700 kg and then 1100 kg. So this is how we look at that. And then from there, we less any opening inventory for the materials. So let's say we have 100 kg as the opening inventory in bracket, and then we have 200 kg here as opening. All these figures are imaginary. I just want you, instead of using the XXS for the format this time around, I want the figures to come in. I'm sure that the figures will make it more realistic for you to understand. So 600 kg becomes the materials to purchase. 900 kg. So even though we are going to use 630 kg, however, we are going to purchase only 600. Why? Because we already have 100 kg and we expect a closing inventory of 70. So this becomes the materials purchases budget. But this is also in units. If you want the material purchase budget in value, you are going to multiply by the same unit price that we use here, the two and for the materials. So we multiply by the unit price, and that gives us the materials purchase budget in value. So we say multiply by the unit price. The unit price for material X is 2 cedis, and the unit price for Y is 0.5. So when we multiply, it gives us 1,200 Ghana cedis and then 450 Ghana cedis as our material purchase in value. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not solving any question. It's the format I'm giving. I should have used the XXX, but I'm trying to make it more practical by inputting some figures for you to understand how it's prepared. So this is what we call the materials purchases budget. And I am sure it is very understandable for you. So having done this, let us finally look at the labor budget. And then I'm going to take a question and then solve with you. Okay. So I'm going to clean all this and I'm going to prepare the labor budget. The labor budget will only depend on the production unit. Okay. All these things has no bearing with the labor budget. So we're going to use the production unit to prepare the labor budget. Okay. Okay, so the labor budget. Now, when it comes to the labor budget, the focus is on how much cost will be incurred on the human efforts that are contributed towards production. So we look at most of the time it will be given to you either as in department or as skilled and unskilled labor, and the rates for each will be given. For example, if you are given that the labor grades are classified as skilled and unskilled labor, then the rate per hour for skilled labor will be given, and the rate for unskilled will also be given. So your job is that you pick the total hours that they need, and you are going to get the total hours by how many hours that you need for each unit of a product, and then you use that to multiply. So let's assume that for what we did, we had product A to be 90 units. I'm talking about the production budget. And then product B to be 150 units. That was our assumption. If we are told that labor hours for skilled labor, okay, for skilled labor, let's assume that you require 3 labor hours for skilled. Let's say for product A, requires 3 skilled labor, and unskilled, they require 5 hours for product A. And then for B, let's assume that we have B requiring a skilled labor of 2 hours and then unskilled labor of, let's say, 3 hours. Now, this information will be given to you in the question. There are times it will not be skilled and unskilled, it will be department, okay? So, or any other parameter. But the most important thing is that you are able to gather the total number of hours and then you multiply by the rates per hour. You may also be given that the rates for a skilled labor per hour is, let's say, 10 cedis per hour, and unskilled labor is usually lower, 5 cedi per hour. So let's assume that this is the information you have. You are supposed to prepare the labor budget with this. So your labor budget is going to group into skilled and unskilled. So for skilled labor, product A, you have 90 units. So we are going to multiply 90 units by 3, because for product A, 3 hours per unit. That is what we are saying. So we realize that we need the production units budget in order to get the total hours. So if for each unit you need 3 skilled labor hours, then 90 by 3 gives us 270 hours for the skilled, and then 5 hours times the same 90 gives us 450 hours for the unskilled. That is for product A. Then we come to product B, which has a production budget of 150 units. So the same unit require 2 hours per unit to produce for the skilled. So 2 times 150 gives us 300 hours of skilled, and then 3 times 150 gives us 450 hours for the unskilled. So our job is to be able to ascertain the total hours for both skilled and unskilled labor. So we have 570 hours total for skilled labor needed, and then we need 900 hours of unskilled labor. We need these two to be able to produce these units in the organization. Now, you can multiply that by the rate per hour. And the rate per hour for skilled labor is 10 cedis. The rate per hour for unskilled labor is 5 cedis. So when you multiply, you have total labor cost to be 5,700 Ghana cedis, and then to be 4,500 Ghana cedis. So this is how you prepare the labor budget. You can get a question where you not see the skilled and unskilled, but you may see it in departments. Okay, whatever that they will provide, your main objective is that you are going to use the production unit to ascertain the total hours, and from there you multiply by the rate per hour, whether for grade of labor or for department. When you are done, you'll be done with your labor budget. So this is a quick format of the labor budget, but I have used imaginary figures to make you understand it better. Okay. So this will bring us to the part 1 of our lesson on functional budgets. In fact, this was just to introduce you to how to calculate these things. Now, in a part 2, we are going to take a very complex question, solve it all together, and then it will help us to enhance our understanding. Remember to subscribe to this channel if it is your first time. Share this video and let others also have a benefit. And until we meet again for the part 2, it's bye for now. Thank you.